Leave this gathering understanding the existence of the vortex, understanding the vibrational relationship between you as a source energy being and you here in this physical body. And you care about the way you feel, which means you manage this gap, this vibrational gap. In less than 30 days, you will have had enough exposure to enough normal contrast about the normal things that have been bothering you. In other words, those issues that are lurking somewhere in your vibration that are potential tickets waiting to happen. Every one of those will have showed itself to you in enough meaningful ways that if you've taken a tenth of the time, a tenth of them, and focus wheeled on them, you will have cleaned up your vibration so much that you will be significantly in the vortex. And when you do that, anyone who's watching you will be able to notice a substantial shift, not only in the way you appear to feel, but in the things that are coming to you. It's easier than taking QuickBooks. It's much simpler than any computer course that you would ever take. Give it 30 days of lying in your, here's the regimen. Lie in your bed at night, bask your way to sleep. Wake up in the morning, catch up with the basking and stay there for a minute or two. Have breakfast, brush your teeth, do a focus wheel on 5 of the things that bothered you most yesterday. Pick 1 or 2 of them that's the most meaningful and easiest and make a list of positive aspects about them. Then do a rampage of appreciation and off you go. And in 30 days, you will not be the same vibrational point of attraction. Everything in your world will have shifted, and it will be noticeable, big time.
If it's understandable that contrast is there to show what we don't want, but also by nature, the fact
contrast is there to choose from.
Choose from, okay.
In other words, contrast doesn't exist as the bane of your existence. Contrast exists as variety. You may not believe this, and a lot of people don't, and we're not kidding, even though we sound sarcastic. There are things that you see as unwanted contrast that others see as wanted. Just like when you go to the cookie counter, you might not want the peanut butter cookie, but you shouldn't demand that they be taken away from the counter. Just don't pick one. Oh, that peanut butter stuff's gonna get on my plate. I know it is. I'd feel so much better if you just remove it. And we say, just pick what you want and leave the rest. And that's the way contrast is. It's there for you to choose from.
Can vibration be cleaned up to the point where it's pure and you don't attract anything that contrasts, that you have smooth sailing, peace?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the flaw in that reasoning. What you're saying is, Abraham, I would really like it if I could just look into an environment and see only what I want, because it's so much easier to see what I want and then just have a positive response to seeing what I want. And we say, there's no expansion that can come from that. That would lead to endedness. The expansion comes from seeing what you want, seeing what you don't want, launching the rockets of desires, recognizing that there's having the fun, and we cannot emphasize this enough. Having the fun, feeling the thrill of bringing yourself into alignment with your newfound expansion. That's what life is. That's what life is. That's the ride you came to ride. People say, Abraham, you got to be kidding. I came to stir up trouble so that I could solve it. And we say more or less. You came to expand. And the thrill of physical experience is then coming into alignment with the expansion. So then you do. And for a moment, you have that calm that you were talking about, that peaceful feeling of satisfaction and contentment. But right along with the accomplishment of what you set out to accomplish, you also now have a new vantage point with a new set of contrasting experiences that's going to launch you into more expansion. And we want you to leave this gathering not only knowing about the vortex and not only more queued up to understand your emotional guidance and how it helps you close the gap, but to understand that life is about expanding and aligning and expanding and aligning and expanding and aligning. And we promise you that if it could be the screwy way you have defined it, where you finally get everything just the way you want it, so that there's no more contrast and therefore no more reaching and therefore no more aligning, you would not only be bored, you would be done. And there is no done in this eternity that we are all creating together.
Thank you.
You see, it's like saying, I'm going on vacation and I'm going to go to that city and 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 that city, and then I'm going to come back home. And then with your objective human out of the vortex mind, you say, oh, wait, I'm home and home is my final destination. Why go? Vacation already accomplished. I'm going to check it off my list. Because you don't go on the vacation to get it done. You go for the clarity and the fun and the entertainment and the new relationships. You go for the exhilaration. You go for the expansion. And that's why you come into this contrasting experience. You are a creator, and you create by focusing your mind. And there is nothing that you wanted more from that non-physical vantage point than to pour yourself into the specifics of this leading time-space reality, where all that had happened before had provided a platform of continuity that you could plant yourself down and look around, and then from your genius, personal, important, worthy perspective, come to a new conclusion about what would be just a little better from your vantage point. What would be just a little better? And there it is, and there it is, and there it is, and there it is. And Source, who knows the reason for your being and knew that you out here on the leading edge would define further expansion, said, yes, we agree, yes, we agree, yes, we agree, yes, we agree. Source takes the expansion that you carve out from your important perspective and stands there steadily holding the vibration of that newfound place, the leading most place in all of the universe, carved out of the deliciousness of the contrast of this leading edge time-space reality. And for just a little while, there's a gap between you and where you've gone. And you know it because there's an uneasiness about it, but you're wise enough to know that that uneasiness means you've carved out something, and that if you move in the direction of it, it will pull you in the direction of it, and the ride will be thrilling to you. And so you turn and you align and you focus wheel and you rampage and you positive aspect and you wouldn't it be nice if, and you catch up with it and you feel the thrill of the expansion, and then you find your new vantage point, and then you begin again. In Tahiti, Jerry and Esther and so many others, they were out on a beautiful ship, and there were little launches that took them into the islands where there were other wonderful excursions. And on these launches that moved pretty rapidly through the water, there was quite a wake that they left behind. And some of the local boys had discovered that if they paddle their canoe very close up behind the boat that's moving quite rapidly, that they can have a terrific ride in the wake of this energy. And so you see them coming from all around, paddling, just wanting to hit it just right. And if they hit it just right, with reasonable paddling, they could keep up with the speed of this motorboat that's going through the water. It was thrilling to watch. Jerry and Esther have played the game in their former not caring so much about life days with little vans behind 18-wheelers. You can get in the draft of the 18-wheeler. You can drive cross country and use none of your own fuel. So, in essence, this is what we're talking about, in that life has caused you to set this energy forward, and it has created this draft, as you will, this calling, if you will, that when you get the ride of all that focused energy, and that's why you come. You didn't come to get it done, and you didn't come to fix something that's broken, and you didn't come to seek worthiness because you weren't unworthy to begin with. You came for the thrill of the ride, and the thrill of the ride is carved out of the contrast. If it were not for the contrast, you could not decide. And once you've decided, Source takes that decision and runs with it with the power that creates worlds. And when you line up with that, you're living life, you see.